first time I've spoken to you, so I wanted to kind of speak a little bit about how you formed the band. I also heard that you were, the first time you tried to form a band, you wanted to get in as the lead singer, the frontman, and they were having none of it. So you thought,
that was
bollocks to that, I'm going to make my own band then.
Yeah, that was Sam Bradley, my drummer. He was in a school band at the time in high school, and they just play like the assembly at the end of the year or something, like and Christmas. They just do covers like your Michael Bublé, and then obviously your Arctic Monkeys, your Cactus, just like stuff you play when you're 16 and 15. And I met him at an open school. There's a place, I don't know if you've heard of Lippe University in Liverpool. It's an art school, and they were putting on like an open summer school type thing. And I went by myself and I met Sam, got talking to him because we like dead similar music. And he told me he had this band and I wanted to join it, but they already had this dead poppy singer who because obviously he was a great singer from what I remember, but I couldn't get in because it was all like their school. So I was like, I'd turn up to the rehearsal and go like, you're going to let me in? Even no, you're not getting in. But look at us now. I used to say you don't try, At least I tried.
Yeah. And I mean, you do. I mean, obviously you've got a great fan base already. When did you first kind of realize that this band would actually kind of work, and you were starting to kind of build up a bit of a following?
I'd say with Teetotal, the last song, or maybe even the first one, Money Man. But I'd definitely say we were all shocked by the reaction to the second single, which was Teetotal. I wouldn't even necessarily say it was bigger than anything. It's just the loyalty and like that, the fact that like a handful of people, whether it's like 200 or 400, whatever, can like put their faith in like what you started. It's such a weird thing to like wrap your head around, especially if you're in the eye of the storm, so to speak. Because I can never understand why like anyone would be interested in music I'm writing. You know what I mean? Like it's mad to me because that's like we've written that. So why do they want to hear it? But they do, and they like it, and they're very loyal. And I like to think that we've got quite an organic fan base instead of it just being based solely off like followers or social media or even streams on Spotify. It's never been based on that. It's been based on like proper loyalty and fandom of the band, I suppose.
But when you say like proper fan base, is that kind of people that you've met and gigged to in Liverpool, or is that all around the country?
Oh, we've only ever gigged in Liverpool. We've never left Liverpool.
Oh, you've not been out of Liverpool yet? All right.
We've done one with Rats. We went down to Portsmouth, the other side of like fucking planet Earth. It's ages away, but it's the only other one we've done outside of Liverpool. But apart from that, we've only ever done gigs inside the city. But we've always got this like tight knit following. I think following's the best word because they come to every single show. Yeah. Regardless of what else is going on, they'll just go make sure they fork out the money and get a ticket. Which, again, just I find mental. Like that goes right over my head. I can't understand it.
I mean, I imagine you've got plans now. I mean, I'm speaking to you from Spain, so I mean, obviously you've got to get out of Liverpool and start playing gigs around other places. So, I mean, where have you got? You must have intentions to get around a bit more now. Once we can kind of start getting out a bit.
You're in Spain. What are you doing in Spain,
yeah. I'm
in
the north of Spain, yeah, in Bilbao. Yeah, no, I've been living here for like the last half of my life or so, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you're doing all this in Spain?
Yeah.
We've got like this year in terms of like booking stuff. It's chocker. Like all we've done is plan in advance for next year. We've got like, I'd say there's like 50% of things are concrete and ready to go, and 50% of the bookings aren't. They're just like kind of up in the air. But in terms of like festival season and back end of the year and stuff, tours and stuff, everything's booked, and it's just a matter of announcement now. Which I'm not telling you not, mate. Keep your mouth shut.
But what have you been doing over the past couple of years, just kind of to keep in the fans? Over COVID, yeah. I mean, I was looking, and is it? Did you get stabbed like just before lockdown?
Yeah.
You did, right?
It was literally, I must have been. Do you know what it was? It was the 29th of February, so it was a leap year, so it doesn't even have an anniversary.
Yeah.
But it was the 29th of February. Me and my mate Lewis were out in Liverpool. Sorry, it's like, can you hear me? I don't know.
I can hear you. It's okay. I can hear like a baby crying. No, I can hear you fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We was in the city centre on a night out, and it must have been about 3 weeks before we went into national lockdown. It's crazy. So everything was happening so quickly.
No, because I didn't even know that happened, and I was looking at stuff to ask you, and I just found that was the first thing that came across. So it's about you completely recovered.
Tweet off Liam.
Hey, yeah, I saw it. Liam tweeted. He was like, "Yeah, all the best for the both of you." That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was touching. It was. I'm not surprised, but it was touch and go for a bit. No, I mean, you got over it perfectly. No,
I think we done a gig. We done a gig 2 weeks later on the day, supporting the K's in the Arts Club in Liverpool. Someone said,
"Oh, really?"
To me, yeah, do you still want to do the gig? I was like, I'm not missing it.
And in terms of recording stuff, have you managed to get much stuff down over the last couple of years, or is that stuff that you have, but you can't talk about it as well? Yeah.
No. we've got all the music ready to release this year ready.
Yeah.
But then we're working on something for next year. But I'm not telling you no more than that, Howard.
No.
And it's all right, giving up all your time, and it's all fine. Give up some more and I'll make you mine.
Congratulations on the new single. It's fantastic, and it's going down really well as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
When did you record that? Was that something you did pre lockdown, or is that something more recent that you've recorded?
We weren't recent. No, that was recorded. I think around this time last year, actually. So it was still in lockdown, but it was this time last year. We was in the Motor Museum in Liverpool on Lark Lane. That's where we recorded it. But we always said we recorded that song because we'd been gone. We'd already been gone for like a year at that point. We wanted to proper work on a launch for it and a campaign. So it took so long to just get all that stuff together and all that content. And we just wanted to make sure it was proper, and it done the song justice, I suppose.
Yeah, no. Also, the video is amazing. The direction and the editing is just fantastic. Because I write a lot of stuff about movies as well, and it's top notch. It's brilliant.
So that's Matthew Snow, and he's got his cinematography thing going on called Snow Motion. So
right.
He ended up putting a brand behind the whole thing. In the same time that we decided we were going to do the whole relaunch and stuff, he decided he was going to create this brand, and they're called Snow Motion. But just the whole experience of doing a proper music video. He's only our age, he's freelancing just like we are, I suppose. But he smashed it. I couldn't believe how good it looked. Just for us to do it off our own back, and it's just this mad music video with Billy Morgan and everything. It was crazy. It was great fun.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah. Was there any specific reason why you went for the boxing ring and that? Just that theme of that video.
Yeah, I think it must have been just the high octane nature of the song. It's a fast paced tune, but I was watching loads of Peaky Blinders at the time. This time last year, actually.
Right.
Like the season where they have the Jippo fight. They have a gypsy fight, and it's in a gym, and the ring's just made out of this docking rope. And we thought, we've got to do something all the hay bales in the corner and everything, and just have this little mini Jippo fight in a warehouse. But what else was I watching? Also, have you seen Snatch with Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, Guy Ritchie film, yeah.
We seen that film. We watched that as a band and thought, we could make a music video like that, and that was it.
Since then, what have you been up to? Have you as lockdown given you time to kind of create new stuff? Has the stuff that you've been creating kind of changed because you've been trapped between four walls?
100%. We've all said, those, especially the very early stages of COVID in terms of maybe 2020, spring 2020, from May and June, when you genuinely couldn't leave the house, you couldn't sneak out or anything because everyone was terrified of this virus. They were the most formative months, I think we'd all say, in this band, since the band formed, because we'd just been gigging since the age of 15, 16 non-stop, and all of a sudden we had this breather to just sit back, because we were in that practice room in Liverpool City Centre every night, and it was the first time we got to take the gear home from that room, sit back and just reflect on just individually, instead of being this unit as a band. For instance, I'd always taken on lead duties as a guitarist, and that all of a sudden shifted onto Lewis Chambers, who's our lead guitarist now. And because he really always wanted to be the lead guitarist, that was his niche, so to speak. Myself, I focused on songwriting, Owen focused on his bass and how he could come up with more unique and, you know, less boring bass parts, which was no fault of his own. It was just that we'd never had that time to look back on it. And then everyone all of a sudden looked at songwriting themselves. So it was, and the music, although I think I said in something else that the music hasn't lost any identity, but it's definitely matured and it's definitely a lot higher of a quality in terms of songwriting. I'd like to think so anyway.
But what about the actual, I mean, what about the actual lyrics themselves? I mean, I was watching, I think you did another interview. I can't remember who it was with the other day. Was it Northern Exposure or something?
Northern Exposure, yeah.
And you were going on about that you didn't want to release any kind of lockdown song. So did you kind of go out of your way to write stuff that didn't feel like you were in lockdown?
No, I don't think. I think the worst thing you could like possibly do is like force what you want to write about or force a song. Maybe like I think if you were going to force a narrative about COVID, that would just be equally as bad as trying to force not. Because if you want to write about, like, Sam Fender's got a great song called "I'll Be Death." I don't know if you've heard it. It's the B-side to 17 Going Under, and that's about COVID, and that's a great song, you know what I mean? So it's not like I'd never shy away from it, but I wouldn't never want to force it or try and falsify a narrative. Do you know what I mean?
You got a whole line of merchandise out, which looks really cool. I'm going to get myself one of those T-shirts. They look great.
We've never done merchandise before. I didn't think no one would be interested because like who's gonna wear a T-shirt with like our band name on? But people bought them. Like people really like them, and I like the logo. I think
I said you did it there. I thought the logo is really. I mean, the logo really kind of makes a band. A lot of I can't remember what I was speaking to someone the other day. And they're just like a lot of bands. You remember them even if they're not around anymore because of the actual logo that they have. And yours is a really good logo. Yeah.
100%. It's like almost like a subconscious thing in it that you don't notice. But it's like implanted on your brain, I suppose.
Obviously, you said there that you can't really believe that people want to listen to your music. I was reading a quote that you said. It said, "There's a songwriter, you come out with so much shite until one day you come up with something really great, and that's so addictive." So you're really kind of hard on yourself when you're writing lyrics and music. It certainly sounds that way when you say that you can't understand that people want to listen to you.
I think they're different things altogether. I think in terms of being critical of your own songwriting, I think if you're not critical, how else are you going to get better? I suppose that you're always looking, because you can write one song and you'll write one song and think that's the best song I'll ever write, but then you'll always want to top it. You know what I mean? Because that song we've released around the bend, all of us, because we've been sat on that for a year. That's almost like, it's like we know we can do so much better than that now. We've got songs ready that are better than that now. So it's almost like frustrating not being able to release material you know that is like light years ahead of that. But in terms of being, in terms of the fan stuff, like just, I don't, it's weird because I listen to loads of bands. Like, I've got plenty of favourite bands, but for anyone to kind of flip that coin and be like, well, why would people listen to my group? I don't know why I can't put the dots together. I don't know. It just blows my mind. But I'm always grateful for it. I'll always be grateful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I mean, when we're talking that you like a lot of different bands, what I've been asking all the bands that have been on so far is to promote other small bands that they kind of discovered that they think other people should try and root out. So is there anyone that comes to mind?
Got the Sway are really good mates of ours. They're another Liverpool band. In fact, they just today announced they're playing the Arts Club, which is across the road from our gig. It's literally next door, so they'll be playing. It's not on the same night, but they released tickets today as well for the Arts Club. So with the Sway, got bless you. What else? Sway, Megan Wynn from Wales.
She's great,
fantastic, great songwriter. Quayside Cassidy, they're another great Scouse band. They're very lazy, very cast and acoustic orientated. Rainmaker, another Liverpool band. Yeah, there's loads. The great thing about being from this city is there's a real oversaturation of bands, which isn't a bad thing. But there's so many. I could sit here for hours, mate.
I imagine they're all really supportive with each other. There's not so much rivalry going on to try and be the best. Now I imagine you're all really supportive of each other as well. Now I really felt that over the last couple of years that even like bigger bands like James and the DMAs have taken people on tour, like really kind of fledgling bands that have only just kind of popped up on the scene, and everyone just kind of seems to be a lot more supportive than they used to be.
100%, mate. Honestly, but like you said, the likes of the DMAs, they took our mates rats on, so that's the alley pally. But there's never been a place for what's it called, like almost altercation in Liverpool. Everyone's always kind of supported each other. If you're in a band, there's always an olive branch. You know what I mean? We found that way anyway. We've had tons of help off bands, especially when you mentioned before about what happened last year and 2 years ago in February. The amount of support we got off other bands and stuff. There's no animosity. There's no place for it, because as long as you can support each other, you always give each other a leg up type thing.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, like, Oasis was notorious back in the day for slagging off bands, you know? Obviously, it's a bit of kind of promotion, but it's all kind of gone exactly the opposite way now, isn't it?
I think so. There's no place for it. There's no place for slagging off other bands, because everyone's entitled to their own thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
So,
anyway, listen, I'll let you go. I don't want to keep you too long. So thanks very much for your time, Tom.
You're a legend, Howard. It's great to
speak to you.
Really nice
and
to meet you.
I hope to catch up with you sometime in a gig, whether it's in Liverpool or somewhere farther afield, or in Bilbao, even over in Spain.
I'm going to pitch it, man. I'm going to pitch Bilbao as we speak.